Well, dementia is usually associated with seniors, but it also can impact our youngest population. Around 1 in every 2,800 babies is born with the condition, and around 700,000 people are estimated to be living with childhood dementia today. Joining us live now from Adelaide is Renee Staska. Renee's 3 young children have all been diagnosed with childhood dementia. Renee, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate you taking the time. And I just want to say, firstly, my heart really goes out to you on this. As a mother of 3 myself, I was really moved by your story when I read about it in the Australian newspaper this week. I have to say, I was completely ignorant about childhood dementia before I read that piece. I didn't know it existed. So let's just start at the beginning here. What is childhood dementia and what does it actually mean for children like yours who are impacted?
Yeah, no problem. So I was ignorant too. I had no idea it existed either. Basically, childhood dementia is an umbrella term for around 70 rare degenerative types of conditions that children can have. So the particular type my children have is Niemann-Pick type C1.
Okay, and how did you discover your children had that? What symptoms did you see in them that sent you to the doctor, and how were they diagnosed?
So my youngest was diagnosed first. He was born with an enlarged liver and an enlarged spleen, and we were otherwise told that it should get better on its own. He was meeting all of his milestones. He was 8 months old, and his doctor decided it was taking a little bit longer than expected, so he'd run a gene panel and he found Niemann-Pick. So we were called in and told that he had a terminal diagnosis.
And then I can only imagine the shock that you must have gone through with that diagnosis initially, and then to learn that your other 2 children also suffer from that condition. I mean, this is just devastating stuff, as we can all imagine. Is that unusual to have all children in one family to have it? I mean, it seems like it's such a rare condition.
It is. It's an ultra-rare condition. It's a recessive gene, so I have an error in my genes, which is fine on its own, and their father has an error in his genes, which is also fine on its own. But together we had an unbeknownst to us chance of a 1 in 4 chance of having a child that is affected. Somehow with the genetic lottery, we got all 3.
We're looking at some photographs of your gorgeous children now. They look like great kids. How are they? What does that mean for day-to-day life for you?
Sure. So they are great kids. I really am blessed in their positivity because they help me to keep on going. You know, they're very happy kids. They do struggle with things like fine motor, reading, writing, school, concentration. They pick up lots of bugs that take a little bit longer to get better. We're fortunately at the sort of beginning of our journey because some of the symptoms that you do end up with this condition are quite awful.
And what's the time frame for those symptoms to deteriorate, and what sort of current treatment options are available for your children at the moment? Are there any?
Sure. So generally the childhood dementia tag comes with probably not seeing your 20th birthday, and it's quite progressive. So, you lose skills over a couple of years or perhaps a couple of months, depending on the severity. At the moment, there's no cures, there's no treatments. My kids do preventative therapies, which is the best we can do at the moment, which is, OT, physio, and just trying to keep them as strong as we can for as long as we can, and hopefully that something comes along.
Oh, Renee, this is so tough to hear about, and I imagine just so tough to deal with for you and your loved ones every single day. You mentioned what's happening in the medical space here. I mean, we know our medical researchers here in Australia are so clever. We're so lucky to live in a country like Australia when it comes to this sort of stuff. Are we on the cusp of any breakthroughs in terms of a new treatment for this? What are your hopes around what could emerge on that front in the coming years? Because I assume staying hopeful, I mean, that has to be a pretty important part in terms of how you're actually able to manage such a heartbreaking condition.
Yeah, absolutely. So I do have to hold on to hope because otherwise I think the alternative is just devastating, and really I don't think I could fathom that. But we hope to raise awareness, and hopefully with awareness becomes more research, more funding, just being able to openly speak about it and have people understand a little bit more would be awesome. And yeah, hopefully we hope a cure or something that can buy us some more time before a cure does come.
Renee, is there a bit of a community in Australia to give you some support? Are there other families going through this as well who you've been able to connect with?
Yeah, that's a really good thing about the Childhood Dementia Initiative, because it is an umbrella term. So instead of having a family with this condition or a family with that condition, there's, suddenly there's a whole community of people with childhood dementia. Might not be the same condition, but it's generally the same sort of prognosis. So it's really makes me feel less isolated, I suppose, to be able to find people that are in similar boats to me and, have people that care enough to listen and want to help.
Renee, look, we would all love to help if we can. It really is just such a unique position you're in. And again, I'm so sorry to hear about it. It just sounds very difficult for all of you. And look, I think you're doing, as you're saying, raising awareness, and we really appreciate you joining us and taking the time to teach us all a bit about it. Thanks again.
Beautiful. Thank you so much.